So welcome back into another One Piece card game video, and today it is yellow purple croc time. See, the issue with him is that it takes forever to ramp and get to your late game stuff, but when you get there, it is pretty good. It plays 5-drop Missile Sunday, better than most decks out there. It has access to the 8-drop Crocodile, which creates a bit of a situation for your opponent every time that you put it down. Because it takes so long, I think what OP05 does is introduce Sky Island, which gives you a better early game. Because it's not archetype restricted, you have access to Holy and as well as Ohm. You can play Gadatsu on curve to get some more removal. And of course you have Satori if you want to throw that in as an additional 2k and make all of that searchable with Shura. Combine all of this with the late game stuff like Yamato and as well as 8-drop Katakuri. Now you have something that's a little bit more viable, at least in my opinion. See, when we take a look at the deck list, it all starts with the Searcher Shura, which I think you should be able to go second in this deck. It really does favor going into your Croc and playing out Ohm and all the other stuff. But really, you want to search out with Shura into Ohm or Holy, whatever you want to call it. Satori is there as a 2k counter, and as well as El Thor. El Thor is a big one because I didn't even mention this. You can combo it with Blast Breath. You -1 Blast Breath, you get the Active Dawn back immediately on your opponent's turn, and then you can use El Thor, which in combination with the 7-drop Lin Lin and all these other higher costed attackers, it is really quite good. Of course, we have Queen to get rid of your late game Miss All Sundays and anything else that you don't really need, but a lot of this stuff is good enough to keep in hand as far as counter power. That was one of the biggest things for Yellow Purple Croc in the previous times that I was building it. It just didn't feel great to defend, and it just, you had to rely on your 8-drop and all this other stuff. And speaking of, we do have the Miss Double Finger that did come out of the set, and I think it's actually pretty good. It's better than most other decks on the trigger. Otherwise it is just a 2k counter in hand. All right, so we're going to start out with a game against Law, which is probably fundamentally a pretty bad matchup for this deck. And we do go second, and the game plan is to play out any of the Holies, Ohms, etc. As early as possible, so that way we have some bodies to be able to swing at their bodies. And they do start out with the Bonnie, does get the Trafalgar Law, the infamous, and to Dan, which both of those things are pretty normal. I'm surprised that they actually went ahead and used the Bonnie. A lot of Law players don't end up doing that, but what we're going to do is use Double Finger. Surprisingly enough, or not surprisingly enough, on 4 non, we get to go to 5, and then 7, and then so on and so forth. This is basically to allow us to play Missile Sunday next, and then be at a pretty high Dawn total. But we do get the Gadatsu, so that's probably what we're going to be playing, seeing as pretty much outside of the laws. Pretty much outside of the laws. Almost everything in their hand or in their deck is going to be 4 or less, and this is going to be a perfect target. Playing out that Sanji, as we do starve them out, because that's usually my game plan. Playing a more of a controlled deck, we're going to go ahead and make sure that we get rid of that Sanji. We're going to swing 5k first. See if he wants to get some cards out of hand. 2 cards out of hand would be fantastic, or the card itself would be great too. But we have 3 2Ks in hand and 2 of our Crocodiles, so we're probably going to be playing that next turn and watch this Law player cry just a little bit. See, this is the issue with if you are playing as Law. Like, sure, you can swing early on, but I think the best thing to do is just to build a board and force me to either swing into them or to remove whatever they have. And, the 2 biggest things in this deck against Law is going to be Yamato and as well as Gadatsu. So, in the future, if I was going to play this again, it'd probably be just to mulligan for those 2 instead of these Crocodiles in hand. Because the Crocodiles are cool, sure. But they're just big beaters at the end of the day that cycle me stuff, because they're not really gonna do too much here while we're facing down a Zoro and all these other swings. Him swinging the Zoro again, you know, that's one of the things I'm saying. Like, sure, you don't have any cards in hand, but you're gonna have to play out your hand and then force me to make sure to remove his threats as much as possible. But I'm gonna decide what I want to do here. I could have went 8 for the law, but I can swing with squeeze my leader into that Zoro anyway, so that's probably what we're gonna do. And then play out this Crocodile to go to 3 life and have our leader effect live. So just deciding here. Probably gonna see a 1K, but I think that's not the best idea in my opinion. I think just, you know, let it die and then use your hand for the rest of the turn, this falling turn. But that's all right. He has a Nami anyway. Could have used 2 Namis, but didn't get that. Wasn't able to do that. And he does get another Zoro, which is a little scary, considering that I already have to deal with one of them. We do draw into an Thor, which is pretty cool. Pitch the other Gadatsu. Honestly, I wanted to keep that Gadatsu because I wanted to pop this this Zoro next turn, but that's okay. I think the 6K swing is a little bit more important. We can protect our Gadatsu from 2 more swings if we really wanted to, but it just depends on how much he wants to focus on him. So maybe the better play there was to let it die, keep the Gadatsu, take a life, and then defend with the Thor and Beige remaining in our hand. Because yeah, now that's going a little hard, and we don't have much of a choice here. But he does swing at life and not the Gadatsu, which is again a little questionable. Oh, that makes a lot more sense. We can't use the Thor effect because it's only a 2K. We can use it. It's not going to be very good or great. We're going to be able to pop this Law because we haven't swung at his face at any point during this game. And that's for good reason, because I want to keep his board clear and I want to make sure that I am only swinging when I have bigger threats on board. So we do have our Croc still on the board. They really can't do anything about this Croc and as well as the Yamato because they don't really have a removal for it. Like they can maybe Otama twice and or Otama once, or no, yeah, twice, and then Jet Pistol, but I don't think they're even running that. So it looks like we have an Otama first, getting into the Gadatsu, which makes a little more sense. We can swing with the Law pretty easily with it. I can technically save it. Probably just not very smart for me to do that though. So here comes a swing. 3K for the Nami. That makes it 4 into 5. Maybe another one to go to 6 into my 4. But we're going to use our Croc effect. Probably pitch this. Probably the category. I want to play another Croc. 2 Crocs is better than 1 for sure. Although you can only get the leader effect once. Not that big of a deal. Yeah, pitch that and then discard the 2K. If she wants to swing into it again, that's fine. That's one less swing to our face because our hand isn't the best. Even though we do have Thor and Blast Breath. Blast Breath will minus a Dawn, which I think will go to 8 next turn. Yeah, that's an easy take. 10K might say I am swinging again with this, with another starter deck Law. So that's something to keep in mind. We could have probably took that as well. Oh, okay. So play out the Law, return the Automata hand, grabbed back not the Makino, which I'm surprised. And then he whiffed on the Nami, which almost not surprised. You know, sometimes Nami just doesn't play well. I could have swung with 2 more Dawn here. I think that, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I think it does matter in the way of saying, do I want to swing over the Law? So what we're doing here is just using the extra Dawn, having one more open extra Dawn for the Blast Breath, even though we're going to have the extra from one of the Crocs here. But it just gives us a little bit more leg room in case we draw into another L Thor from life or deck. I'm going to go ahead and use the Croc effect. Nothing useful. If our hand wasn't counterpower, I mean, this will be definitely the option to use both Croc effects, but we're not going to do that. Looking a little scarce on Law's End, to be honest. We do have another Nami. Hopefully this one doesn't whiff. Being at 1 life, but 4 cards in hand with hopefully something that you do see from the top of this Nami, which is a Zoro, which isn't bad. Which isn't bad at all. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and use Otama on one of my Crocs. Much less important because, again, you know, having 2 Crocs is better than 1. And, you know, these guys are 9K bodies. So you're still swinging to a 7K. So, sure, you can use 7 with the leader. I don't know why I actually did that. I mean, I have everything I need in my hand. Blast Breath and a 2K, you know. We went down to 7 Dawn. But I guess I was just curious. Plus, I was going to draw anyway, you know. It's going to be another Shura, which probably would be cool because we can Shura into a Ohm and then Ohm hopefully into a Holly. But, you know, that's whatever. So I guess he has a decision of what to do here. There is I mean, you could, sure, you can pay 5. We're definitely going to, well, I was thinking of playing this. I think it's best to play this because now we have an option to block and protect our Croc without minusing a Dawn. And we also have another 5K attacker, which is more important because we do want to take game next turn. So he does use the Shambles effect. Going into a mystery card. Grab back to the Otama. Restand the Zoro. I mean, you can't swing it to me again, but you know, I'm not really gonna care about that. But we're gonna immediately swing with this Sanji. We have plenty of attacks. He only has 1 blocker instead of the bunch that Law players usually have. We're gonna swing 7s here. He only has 1 card in hand, which means all of our rest of our big 9K swings doesn't really matter. You know, we're just gonna keep swinging. And I think that is just about it. That is a GG for him. All right, next up is everyone's favorite. It is Enel, baby. Yeah, so Enel is really weird for this matchup. I think it's like a 55-50 or 55-45 for them. And I say that because like Enel players need to know how to play against everything in order to be successful. And when you don't know how to play about everything or against everything, then you kind of have to autopilot and rely on your life and RNG. And you don't really want to do that in general. I think I think, you know, I think it's important to know how to navigate through everything, and how to navigate against Croc here as an L is to make sure that you're swinging as much as possible, and taking care of my threats before I take care of yours is basically what it is. And I skipped through, I got to talk through all the stuff that's happening here. And basically what's happening is that, we're basically trading blows, and I Gadatsu'd his Holly. I have a Holly in my hand and I got rid of that one. And we're basically just swinging as much as possible. But the issue, or one of the things that I think is, incorrect of what he's doing here, is the fact that he wasted so many cards in hand to swing at me. So now, although I am only at 1 life, I do have access to Yamato, which, you know, you already know what's going to come down here, and as well as all these swings. So because he didn't get rid of the Satori, I really wanted to make sure that I am up on life. Is basically what I did this, or the way that I did this, or why I did the way I did this. So he did use 200 million volts, which is pretty annoying. I went ahead and put my MSL Sunday instead. And what we're doing here is basically making sure instead of using the Yamato, we're just going to go ahead and force him to get rid of the stuff on board. So I didn't swing here because of many reasons. And one of those reasons is I didn't want him to swing into my category. And the other part of that is that I really want to make sure that I am ready to swing at everything and anything when he's at 1 life. And that's one of the things that you have to know as or going against an L, is that you have to have enough bigger swings in order to end the game. I miscounted. Oh wait, no, I didn't. Okay, no, I didn't. Wait, did I miscount? Oh man, I have to go back to that. I may have miscounted on the counter stuff. So we're doing the same thing as category. We took the life, and it's basically looping as much as possible. And yeah, he just rage quit. I don't know what to tell you. I just kind of wanted to show you this and kind of talk through the matchup itself. Just know that you want to get your bigger boys and girls on board and keep reviving wherever you can, and then swing when you're ready for 3 big swings. That's basically what I was trying to do here. And I think he could not protect himself with only 2 cards in hand, even if he tried to get rid of my my Yamato. So there you go. All right, next up is gonna be our red purple Luffy matchup. And I've played a lot of games with this deck, and because it took me a long time, just like the last. I think I did post that. I don't know if I did post that one, but I made another yellow purple croc deck and tried the other stuff in the traditional like. Okay, so we're going against red purple Luffy, and I played a lot of games, to be honest, a lot of games with this deck, and I previously made a yellow purple croc deck before, where basically, you know, you use a lot of the older stuff, a lot of the traditional things, and I really didn't really dig it, which is why I don't think I ever posted it. But you know, with this one, there's a lot of different matchups everywhere, a lot of different things you can do with a lot of different matchups. And basically for this one, as you can see on curve, we went ahead and played the Ohm into the Holly, whatever. And we're just building a board so that way we have a lot of swings everywhere. So when we start playing the bigger things, we still have swings in order to back us up later on, because they as red purple Luffy, they really can't do much. I misplayed here. I forgot that he's a 7k. And one of the bigger cards here is going to be that Lin. It almost every single time they're going to give you a life. So that's super important to know. And we do see a Yamato. We do see a Queen. There's a lot of stuff that we can use these following turns. And we might lose our own, but that's probably okay. The scary part here is probably a Shanks, maybe a Kaido. Don't think they're going to play a yellow purple or a purple Luffy anytime soon. But I think a Shanks is probably best bet for him. I think if he really wanted to do something. But instead he swung 6 into my Ohm, and because I only have 1Ks, I really didn't want to give that up. I'm pretty stubborn that way, so there you go. Here's a 7k swing. I don't think I can pop that with the L4 just because our life totals are a little weird right now. He does have a Queen, which is going to reveal that he had a 6-drop Luffy or 5-drop Luffy, which, hey, by the way, probably has a lot of those in hand. We're just going to keep swinging out and start building these bigger bodies on board with Yamato and as well as Lin. We have a lot of cards in hand as well as his. That's one of the things I was kind of afraid of, because we have so many cards in hand. You could probably do this twice if you really wanted to. But we did lose our Queen and as well as an L4, which is pretty annoying. He is swinging just an 8 here. We discard the Gadatsu. It's kind of useless now. The 7k to my Shura seems a little excessive. And then into another Queen. So I got a couple options this following turn, because this is probably what's going to wrap up his turn here. I think, oh, we drew into a Crocodile. Never mind. So we're going to swing 10 into his kid. We're going to probably swing 8 into his life. But we're going to swing to his kid instead. His discards and counters are really revealing what he had. A lot of 2Ks, the 0 cost, 3Ks, another 7 cost kid, a Luffy. There's a lot of stuff that he just really didn't need in hand. And I think that's one of the things I like about reputable Luffy is that you do have the diversity of playing so many late in cards, and he's just not playing any of those. He's just playing the 7 cost, which is really good. That card is super good. He's an 8K leader for no goddamn reason. So you know, that's a huge point, but he's not really doing anything. If he had like a top end here, if he had like any kind of Shanks or Kaido or whatever, I think he'd be good. But these two kids are going to be a little annoying to deal with 3 blockers on board. So, you know, there's a couple things that we can do. I think it's going to be the same amount of difficulty to swing to his face or his kid. So, you know, my 3 bigger swings probably mean not too much to either one of them. So we did pull an 8 cost category, which is actually really good for us. I think what we're going to do is just replace the Holly. Probably replace the Holly and then go into Katakuri. So that way we put one of his 7 cost kids into life. Let's see if he takes one of these here. I think it's probably important to swing into his kid. He really wants that on board. That's too bad. He's only going to be able to have access to one of them. I can't swing because he's too big everywhere. So I'm just going to go ahead and pass the turn. We're going to use the leader effect to get rid of our Gadatsu, which is pretty useless. Him swing with the blockers only can mean one thing, which is Luffy. Kind of regretting not playing my Sanjis here, but we'll see. Now, here's a cool interaction. Is that because he's going to take another turn and we just have just enough to get out of those, I get to use my leader effect one more time. And why that is important is because we drew into a Blast Breath and we drew into our Beige, and 2 Blast Breaths, 1 from life and another draw from deck means that we got out of the Luffy. Okay, hopefully that will give you a little bit more insight of how the deck works. Make sure to like, dislike, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you in the next one.